Pick your season or occupation. It's time to send in your application.
Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, we are going to be evaluating the Pretty Little Liar A reveals. I've kind of gone through all of them, and I've also categorized them into like sections. I was gonna like put this up on the wall, couldn't be bothered. We have, for each of the A's, we have motive. Don't know if you can see it. We've got motive. Then we have method, which is like, what did they do whilst they were A? Then we have the reveal. How good was the reveal? Was it good? Was it bad? What was it? This is obviously going to have spoilers, so don't watch this if you're currently watching Pretty Little Liars and you don't want to know who A is, okay? Because I'm about to tell you all of the A's. So brace yourself. First A that we're going to talk about is Mona. Personally, she is my favourite A throughout the entire show. It's not really too hard because the other A's are very questionable. But Mona, wow. Mona, first of all, is my favourite character through the entire show. Love her so much. I think she's so cool. I'm planning to do another video in a little while talking about why she was never like the fifth official liar, but that's a whole nother thing. This is what I've written down for Mona. Let me actually find the page, everyone. So Mona was the first A, and she was revealed at the end of season 2 in the episode Unmasked. Mona's motive for why she was A is that originally she was A before Allison went missing, and her motive was because Allison bullied her and called her loser Mona, commented on her looks and how she didn't really have any friends. So that was her motive for being A to Allison. That's how it started. She wanted to make Allison feel scared because that's how Mona had been feeling this whole time, because Allison was so cruel to her. So she wanted Allison to feel how Mona felt. So she was given the nickname Loser Mona. So her methods started by just sending threatening messages towards Allison. That was the first thing that kind of started everything. It was like the catalyst. However, after Allison's disappearance, she actually stopped being A. She was like, okay, Allison's gone. She took on this whole new identity. She became popular, and she had like a whole makeover. So she was like, okay, I'm gonna stop being A. There's no reason for me to be A. However, motive number 2, Hannah, who is her best friend, those two were always a duo. In the year that Allison had disappeared, Mona and Hannah became really close friends. They both had makeovers. They were both like now the popular girls of the school, and they were best friends. So when they find Allison's body, Hannah starts to talk more to the old friendship group she used to have, Emily, Spencer, and Aria, and they start to become really close again. And Mona sees this and is like, oh, I'm going to go back to being a loser because Hannah is friends with them now and not friends with me. So that's why she then becomes A again. And also another thing with Mona, she can never actually give the game up. She loved having control. She liked making other people feel intimidated. And the game was just such a big thing for her, which we'll discover a bit later on. But those are her motives. I'm going to give them a rating because Mona's motive to me is the most, not valid, but the most like makes more sense to me type of thing. So I, for motive, I'm going to give her a 8.5/9 out of 10. The methods that she would use, oh no, I think my hair tie just snapped. The methods that she used, she would blackmail the girls using text messages, and she would use like their own secrets against them because she knew all of their secrets. So for example, Byron, who is Arya's dad, had an affair with Meredith, and A kind of torments Arya with it and is like, you need to tell your parents. And eventually it gets to the point where Mona writes a letter to Arya's mum to expose. She would also make them do like really demeaning tasks. There's one scene where, so Hannah used to deal with a lot of body issues, a lot of eating issues, and there's a scene where A forces her to eat like 6 cupcakes, I think it is, in one sitting in order for her to make some money, because her and her mum are in debt. So stuff like that, really like traumatizing. I would give Mona's methods a 6 out of 10, just because like there's someone else who like has better things. This sounds so weird. It's better than blackmail. It's a bit more different. The actual reveal is my favorite reveal. I think the way they did it was really, really cool. Really, really liked it. One of the faves. The season 2 finale. So Spencer and Mona go to find A's lair. Mona, whilst they're in there, offers Spencer a piece of gum, and Spencer's like, no thank you. And then Mona's like, oh no, I'm out of gum, I'm gonna go get some from the car. Spencer picks up, I think it's A's diary or Alison's diary, and finds a gum wrapper in there, and also finds some cashmere sweaters. Guys, this is so good. So then Mona comes back, and Mona is like, I found the gum. And then Spencer is like, you didn't call Hannah, did you? Because you're A. Turns around and sees Mona in her black hood. So good. This is my favorite reveal. This is so good. This reveal, I'm giving it a 10 out of 10 because yeah, no, maybe 9.5, because it would have been cool for the girls to all find out together. That's my only downside. But like seeing Mona in the black hood, even just the one-liners, what do you mean the reveal is I found the gum? So good, guys. This was peak Pretty Little Liars, and everything onwards from here went downhill, unfortunately. Now we're going to talk about Cece. Cece, I don't know if this is unpopular, I don't mind Cece being A. I'm not going to say I love it, because I don't. But like, I see it. Yeah, I don't love it, but I don't know. I kind of vibe with it more than other people. I don't really know why. Cece was introduced to the alias during her time at Radley when Mona was admitted. They were both at Radley at the same time. I think this is a really cool way for her to take over being A. Like, Mona is in a mental health hospital where Cece's also there, and then she takes over from being A. Like, that's kind of like... So she would sneak into Mona's room and listen to Mona's stories about being A. And Cece loved it so much, and she was like, oh, let me have a bit of that. So the motive was Mona told Cece that the liars were... like kind of not happy that Alison had gone, but they felt more like free from everything type of thing. Like they didn't have to hold their secrets anymore, and there was no one there to kind of like be mean to them or whatever and turn them into mean people themselves. So at the time, we are told that Cece and Alison are best friends, but they actually end up being cousins, I think, in the end. During Cece's reveal as A, we're told that they are sisters, but later on in the show, I think they're actually cousins at the end of the show. Guys, Cece's motive, I can't really tell you until the reveal, because like the reveal like is the motive, if that makes any sense. Like, I can't, yeah, you'll see. So her methods as A would be, she would get the girls to kind of like commit crimes, honestly, and like break laws. She once again used secrets to manipulate them and intimidate them. So she also recruited an A team. This consisted of Lucas, Mona, Noel, Jenna? Don't know. Toby. I want to say Caleb, but I don't think so. I can't remember, guys. Spencer as well, and Sarah Harvey. She actually like built a whole team to destroy the girls and like take them down. And then the best thing on the show, personally, I think they missed out on making this bigger than what it was, because this was like the most iconic bit of the show and I always rewatch these episodes. Cece built a whole dollhouse. She built a dollhouse, guys, a real life dollhouse, and she put the girls in there and played with them like dolls. Guys, how iconic is that? There was only like 2 episodes of the dollhouse. I feel like there should have been more because it was so good. They're my favorite episodes throughout the entire show. I think it's so clever because A always treated the girls like dolls. So to build a dollhouse, a real life dollhouse, kidnap the girls and then play with them like dolls. Like, she would torture them. And I think she would starve them too, and she would make it seem like they were doing things to each other. I can't remember exactly, but I think it was like if one of them, I think it was Hannah or Spencer, it was like they were given the choice whether they could eat food or whether someone else would starve, type of thing. So like she would mentally torture them, mentally and physically, in the dollhouse. So me saying that it was really cool. She also kidnapped Mona and framed Allison for her murder. To me, the thing about Cece framing Allison is weird, just because Cece became a for Allison, and the whole thing in her reveal is about protecting Allison and wanting her family back. So don't really understand that. So she kidnaps Mona and puts Mona in the dollhouse as well and dresses her up like Allie, and then like she mentally manipulates Mona into believing that she is Allison, like Mona is Allison. So when the girls meet Mona again in the dollhouse, Mona thinks that she's Allison. Her methods, I'm going to give a solid 10 out of 10. Well done, Cece. Take a bow. I think really creative material. Dollhouse, loved it. I think Cece's methods were the best. I think her motive, actually I'm getting onto the motive now because it's part of the reveal. So the reveal, I'm going to give a 7.5 out of 10. The actual reveal and like how they did it is my favorite out of all. Maybe I might have just said that about Mona's, but I actually think Cece's my favorite, because ultimately the girls found out who A was like together at the same time. So Allison is taken into a room with A, and we only see A in this black hood at this point. Jason and Kenneth, Allison's brother, and Allison and Cece's brother and dad, but they end up actually not being that, are like unconscious on the floor, and we see Allison and she's like, how could you do this? We're family. And then the girls who are in a separate room watching on the screen are like, oh my god, Allie's with Charles. We see A turn around and it's Cece, and she says, don't be so dramatic, Allie. They're not dead yet. Yeah. 10 out of 10 reveal. Loved it. My favorite. I think the way they've done it, so good. So good. Whether you disagree with Cece being a good A or not, I don't think you can disregard the reveal itself. I think it's so good. Cece's backstory, which is ultimately her motive, gets revealed when she gets revealed as A. This whole thing in the dollhouse, Spencer worked out that whoever is A is called Charles, And Charles is related to the Alison De Laurentiis family, and this person is A. Charles is A. And for, I think, like 10 episodes, we are like, okay, we need to figure out who Charles is, because Charles is A. So Charles is Cece. Cece transitioned to Cece, but before that, we are given a flashback with Charles trying to give Alison a bath. Alison was crying in her crib, and Charles wanted to like calm her down and like make sure she was okay. And Charles tried to get the attention of Jessica De Laurentiis, who at this point we're told is Cece's mom, but she's not actually. But just go with it. But Jessica doesn't answer. So Charles goes to give her a bath to try and like calm her down and stop her crying. But Kenneth walks in. Kenneth, we are also believed to be her dad, is not. Kenneth thinks that Charles tried to drown Alison in the bath. So Charles then gets admitted into Radley for it. Cece says that from a young age, she wanted to dress in women's clothes, but that Kenneth would not allow Jessica to buy her dresses. Jessica would like to buy her dresses, to let Charles dress in how they wanted to dress, but Kenneth was like, absolutely not. Kenneth is not a slay, actually. Cece spent 7 years alone at Radley, and they drugged her on tranquilizers until she almost drowned to death in her own drool. When Cece is a bit older, they had a funeral to bury Charles, because everyone thinks Charles is dead when they discover who Charles De Laurentiis is. They're like, oh, but Charles is dead. No, Charles is alive, but has transitioned. Cece says Mona was not ready to give up the A game. So Cece made a deal with her that if she helped Cece get out of Radley, she would play the game with Mona. Her motive was her whole life backstory, basically, which is extremely valid. So I don't really like have an issue with Cece being A. I think it makes sense. I think the backstory makes sense. I just think the audience wanted it to be someone else, but I don't really have an issue with it, honestly. Like, I think it kind of makes sense. But Cece's first task was to make friends with the liars, and that's when we are given a flashback of when Cece met the girls for the first time. So Cece found out Alison was alive and was going to give up being A, because she just wanted revenge for Alison, basically, which doesn't really make sense to me, because Cece was the one that hit Alison and was believed to have killed her. So if she wanted revenge for Alison, look in the mirror. Cece couldn't give up the game, basically. That's everything on Cece. I think motive, 8.5 out of 10, just because her backstory, completely valid, but there's some things that don't make sense about wanting revenge for Alison, even though she was the one who hit Alison and like killed her. But the reveal, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Method, 10 out of 10. Is Cece my favorite A? No, it's still Mona. But I don't hate the fact that Cece was A. I think there's a lot of people that don't like that Cece was A. I don't mind it, to be honest. Move on to possibly the worst A, the worst reveal, the worst everything. I don't vibe with this A reveal. I think it was awful. I've actually just filmed a video talking about this reveal because it was that bad. Uber A was the last A of the show, and it was Alex Drake. Alex Drake is Spencer's twin. So Alex's motive was that her sister Cece died and she wanted to find out who had killed her. So she became A and threatens the girls because she thought the girls knew who had killed Cece. I think she thought it was actually one of them. That's her motive. Motive, I give it 6. 7. I don't really know. But the methods that Alex used was she used violence, blackmail, and murder to try and get them to confess. kind of a slay actually. Wait, this was actually a moment in time. She built a board game to push the liars into boundaries and try and get them to like confess or like hurry up and find out who Cece's killer was. So there was this whole board game that they played. They had to roll, they had to do the task on the board game. Kind of a slay, but not as much of a slay as the dollhouse. The dollhouse still tops it. After finding out the killer, who was Mona, Alex went quiet for a bit, but then she decided to come back. Much like Cece and Mona, she couldn't give up the game and she loved it. She kidnaps her twin, who is Spencer, and another part of her motive was that she was jealous that Spencer had lived a better life than her. Don't think that's Spencer's fault, just because Spencer didn't know she existed, but I digress. She reveals to Spencer that she is A. The reveal is the worst. I'm giving it a -5 out of 10. Her methods, sorry, I've like skipped that. Her methods, I give it 6.5, 7. 7. Yeah. The reveal, like I said, worst reveal in the show, worst reveal of all time. I just did a whole video talking about it because it was just so bad and I just don't vibe with it, guys. I'm really sorry. I'm not going to delve into it too deeply because I just did like a whole video talking about it for like half an hour, but we never saw Alex in the black hood. Never. The reveal, like, also the girls never interacted with Alex. Even when Alex was revealed as A, they didn't say anything towards Alex. They didn't do anything towards Alex. It was just that. I think my order of A's, I think Mona was my favorite because she's my favorite character on the show. Cece was my second favorite, and I think Alex, was my least favorite. I don't even want to count Alex on the scale. Yeah. My favorite thing about Mona, going back, at the very end of the show, the finale, she kidnaps Alex and Mary Drake to prove that she's never giving up the game. So I just love that for her. I think it's so cool. These are my rankings and evaluations of all the A's in Pretty Little Liars. I'd love to hear your opinions down below on your rankings, I guess, and if you have anything to say on mine, honestly, I'd love to hear it. But make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.
Pick your season or arc.